This is the Reading and Instruction Show. I am your host, Dr. Andy Johnson. The title of today's show is called Killing Cows, Burning Witches, and Reading Instruction. Now, let me be clear about one thing up front. The profiteers see education in terms of wealth generation. And I'm talking about Cambium, Lexia, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, McGraw-Hill, Pearson, Macmillan, Scholastic. These are all part of the educational industrial complex currently running education. Let's not fool ourselves. They are in charge. These are the profiteers. They see literacy as something that must be acquired. You must get it from somebody else. Literacy instruction must be bought. Instructional materials must be paid for. It's all a transaction that involves money, and they are the money changers in the temple of education. But progressive educators don't see humans in such a limited way. To us, literacy is developed, it's manifested. Literacy is learned, not bought. We don't sell literacy. We don't sell literacy instruction. It's not for sale. It's not a transaction. So let's take a look at the educational slaughterhouse. The profiteers see education in much the same way a slaughterhouse sees cows. They're creating products that will be consumed by the masses. The masses must acquire their product for it to be consumed. And if a few cows are killed along the way, well, that's just a cost of doing business, isn't it? And if there is research to show that cows are treated horribly in the process and that there are better ways of getting good tasting protein in our diets and that something else could be healthier, that uncomfortable bit of research is ignored or dismissed. After all, they've got billions tied up in their cow killing machinery. You can't expect them to change just because something else might be better. They've got responsibilities, you see. They're responsible to their shareholders, you see. And they've got to make the decisions that are best for their families, you see. So on with the cow killing. And the educational cow killers go on generating tremendous amounts of wealth while killing the literacy potential of millions. Their wealth-generating factories continue to crank out high-priced, one-size-fits-all scripted curriculum that disproportionately impacts diverse and minority populations. The achievement gap, which is really an equity gap, widens. The social order is maintained with what the white majority in charge wants. The voice of teachers and students are silenced. And just so there is no confusion on this little tidbit here, let me state this in the clearest possible terms. Wealth is being generated at the expense of our children and the taxpayers. In the meantime, the profiteers tell the disenfranchised to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And while the disenfranchised explain that they have no boots, much less bootstraps, by which to pull themselves up, the profiteers continue. They grab and they take and they manipulate and they hoard. They're like the rich man who ignored Brother Lazarus by the side of the road. In their Pearson publishing boardrooms, they are oblivious to the impact that they had. They feed like pigs at the public trough. That's what they do. But tell me this, how much wealth is enough wealth? And they say, how high is the sky? Control the machinery. Wealth is power, you see. Wealth and power enable the wealthy and powerful to control the narrative. Now, they bought the term science and they use it relentlessly. Science. They slap us in the face with it like a dead fish every time we turn around. Science. Science. Science of reading. Reading science. Research-based reading science. And who can argue with science? Science is objective. Science is pure. Science is good. It proves things you see. It creates certainty. It enables us to control the world around us. Archimedes said, "Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world." And Archimedes is an old dead white guy. If an old dead white guy says something, it has to be true, yes? Science. It's all about leverage, cause and effect. If we do A, B will occur. And if we want B, we just have to find the right A. It's as simple as that, don't you see? If good reading performance is B, we simply need to find the right A to make B occur. Reality is a mechanical device filled with cause and effect phenomena. It's a machine with cogs and pulleys where one thing makes another thing happen. Everybody knows that. Although systems theory and quantum physics would have something to say about this. So to fix a problem in this world, you just rub a little science on it. Science is our savior. Science is our God. Science is our balm. To fix a reading problem, you just add a little science to it, like adding a little vanilla extract to frosting. Bingo, frosting and reading. But, there's always a but. There was one problem with this science of reading, frosting, fixing scenario. And the problem is this: there wasn't really a reading problem to start with. It was all made up. The crisis in reading was a manufactured crisis so that the wealthy and powerful could become more wealthy and more powerful. They told us that the reading sky was falling. And some people actually believed it. They believed there was a reading problem. Test scores are going down, 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 they said. And they trotted out colorful graphs and charts to prove their point. Look, they say, numbers. And everyone went, ooh. They pulled data out of context to create the illusion and used false conclusions to create a view that did not replicate the reality it purported to represent. And they found a media charlatan, Emily Hanford, who was willing to sell her soul for fame and wealth, and she could not resist the temptation. And here's the big sticking point with the science of reading community. The same scientific principles they ask us to apply to reading instructional methods are not applied to identifying problems or solutions. And let me say this again so you hear it this time. The same scientific principles they ask us to apply to reading instructional methods are not applied to identifying problems or solutions. The idea of a reading crisis is not born of peer-reviewed research data or valid methodology. It's not born of basic scientific principles. The real problem here is that there's no problem. The alleged problem, the cause of the alleged problem, and the solution to the alleged problem are all based on I thinkisms and perceptions. It's a manufactured crisis. And the profiteers and the politicians have used pseudoscience to convince the masses that there's actually a crisis. And they know both the cause and the solution. Pseudoscience is when you start with a predetermined belief and look only for data that supports your predetermined belief. Because my kid can't read, they say, there's a reading crisis. Let's go find some data to support my preconceived idea. And because there's an alleged reading crisis, which there isn't, it must be caused by lack of phonics, they say. So let's go find some data. I don't think we're teaching phonics. Let's go find some data. If we teach more phonics, we'll fix the problem. Let's go find some data. Because phonics worked for one kid, it must work for all kids. Let's go find some data. Because there's a reading crisis, teachers aren't being prepared correctly. Let's go find some data. A little science. Here's the thing about science that the science of reading community conveniently seems not to have grasped. You can't be just a little science of reading. You're either a science of reading or you're not. You can't be a little bit science of reading or a science of when it's convenient of reading or a what I think of reading. And it's sad to say the science of reading community is really a pseudoscience of reading community. For evidence, the profiteers, politicians, and policymakers trot out emotional stories of parents and children. I can't read, the child says sadly as they look into the camera. And they show sad pictures with sad children, with sad little tears running down their cheeks. And parents tell sad stories. My kid didn't learn, they said with great emotion. And that's the proof that there's a problem right there. That's proof that what they're doing in schools doesn't work. It's proof that you literacy professors, with all your reason and knowledge and research and experience, are teaching pre-service teachers the wrong things in the wrong way. There's the proof right there. And when I ask where, right there, they say, weren't you listening to the sad stories? There's the problem, they say. And we know the cause, they say, and then they get very dark. Like witnesses at the Salem witch trials, they point their bony little finger and they cry out, it's balanced literacy. I saw them outside, dancing naked in the moonlight and practicing their balanced literacy rituals. Burn them. Balanced literacy and the three cueing systems, they say. They're making our cows sick and our children illiterate. There are screams of horror and wails of lament. Burn them, burn them, burn them. And I looked in the school window, they say, and they're guessing at words. No, burn them. It's the three cueing systems and balanced literacy and whole language and whole word, witches, all of them, burn them. And they looked at me, they said. They gave me the evil eye. They had our children reading books. They were enjoying themselves. Oh, the horror. Satanists, they say, burn them. And the children, the mothers of liberty wailed, what about the children? Who's going to protect the children? I saw kids selecting their own books, another says. Blasphemy. And the children, they were enjoying reading. No, that can't be. That just can't be. It's an inquisition. The members of the literacy inquisition continue their holy crusade. They're banning books and banning words and banning ideas. Books and words and ideas are dangerous things. They enable people to think about things and then to think critically about things. And we can't have any of that thinking stuff around here. There's a law now here in Minnesota called the READ Act, sponsored by Representative Heather Edelson. and they should call it the Heddleston era. I want her to take responsibility for it. This law says that I am not to teach the three queuing systems. I cannot say it. I cannot mention it in my literacy methods class. I cannot have it on my syllabus. I can't even think about it. It's a dangerous thing. What about the children? Who will protect the children? But it's censorship. What else do you call it? Suppression, restriction, control, blotting out? If you can't win in the arena of ideas, in an academic environment, you suppress ideas, you censor ideas, you eliminate things, you don't permit certain words or ideas to appear. And that's what it's come to now in the state of Minnesota and elsewhere. I know it's happening in Wisconsin. Censorship and control. If you can't win your argument in an academic setting, if you can't convince people using reason and research, you control, you silence, you threaten, you bully, and you censor. In Minnesota, as in other states, Wisconsin, Ohio, Texas, they have passed a law making it illegal for me to include the three queuing systems in my literacy courses. I'll be breaking the law, and they'll send in the reading police and drag me out in handcuffs. And the really, really sick thing about this literacy inquisition is that the inquisitors don't even know what the three queuing systems is. Yet they've banned it. It's censored. It shall not appear. They've censored and banned something that they don't even know. It's not a strategy, the three queuing systems. And for the 187th time, the three queuing systems is not something you teach. It's not a method. It's not an approach. It's simply a recognition that our brain uses a lot of different information to recognize words when creating meaning with print, and recognizing words is different than identifying words. Our brain consists of a series of interacting, interconnected neural networks that all work together. Our brain is not a set of Legos with each part of the brain operating separately from the others. There are interacting and interdependent systems all communicating and all providing information about words and sentences and meaning during the process of reading. And this, my friends, is an empirical fact. And empirical means it can be measured or observed. This has been the Reading Instruction Show. I am your host, Dr. Andy Johnson.